can stop recording for now.
Right now.
Huh?
You shouldn't have it recording.
If everything goes well, do this about once a month. So, um, if you guys walk away from this and you felt like it was worthy, please let us know, and we're gonna keep it going. So, um, another thing that I want to mention is that we do have a website where we're gonna upload this video to our forum. So if you miss anything, you can go onto the forum, catch up, watch the video, if you did miss something, or otherwise look at some of the posts that people talk about on the forum. There tends to be some better topics that are covered on the forum than the everyday small stuff that's posted on the Facebook page. So, a couple things we want to mention before we get started is we do have Stone Biz on the Beach coming up in October. So that's going to be October 15th to the 18th. We did this 2 years ago. So in 2023, it was a big hit, a lot of fun. We had some really good speakers. And this year, we're going to have Renee Rodriguez and John DeJulius as speakers. And just watch over in Facebook over the next month or so. We're going to have some more information, and registration will be coming soon for that. So you don't want to miss that. Otherwise, we have a couple of workshops coming up. There's going to be one in Pompano Beach, Florida, March 27th and 28th. That shop specializes in mitering and does a lot of porcelain. They have two Baca saw jets, so they're going to be demoing what they do there. We have Jake, who is an owner. I'm sorry, he's on the Zoom call with us today. He's the owner of Central Surfaces, and we're going to have a workshop at his place in Kansas City, June 12th and 13th. They are a production shop. They do over 800 square feet a day, focusing on efficiency and keeping quality up at those larger volumes. And then lastly, August 21st and 22nd in Alabama, we're going to be doing a workshop at AM3 Stone, which is a large marble quarry, showing us their process. So I'm going to let Justin go over some of the rules on how we plan to kind of keep this organized, so we're not all talking over each other, and we are going to just try to keep it moving. So hopefully everybody gets something out of this, and thanks for joining.
Hi, guys. I want to thank everybody for coming. I'm just going to go over some rules here. Rule number one, let's all be respectful, even if you disagree. Just shake your head and move along. Rule number two, we're going to try to keep everybody muted to keep the background noise out. We're going to use the raise your hand feature. There's also the chat feature on the side. I'm going to be watching. So if you have something you want to answer, either raise your hand, put it in the chat. I'm going to call names in the chat for you'll be up next. What else? We're all learning this together, so please be patient. Other than that, we're going to kick this off with some nice topics. I want to thank everybody for following the emails and writing your bios. That's great. So I'm going to go ahead and open this up. It's going to be interesting with the big shops and small shops. Number one question that's been asked and people want to talk about is, the economic downturn. What do you do? How do you keep your business growing? How do you keep running? What do you cut out? Anybody want to answer that? Big job, small shop. I see a bunch of them in here. Us personally, we're looking at numbers of everything. Every place we're spending money, I want to look at. I want to see where we can save because we're definitely getting hit. Our volume's down, sales are down, walk-ins are down. Hopefully you're not all having that problem. Anybody want to get on that? Jeff, how are you guys doing? Steve, anybody?
Yeah, I'd go if as long as I get some other feedback from other people. But I can tell you what we did that did work this year, and we're a smaller company, mid-size. There's 11 of us here right now, and we put a ton of effort into our Instagram. It's small. Actually, was on Eric's advice. I watched Barry Brandt's daughter do a bunch of stuff, which I don't know if any of you have followed their stuff at all, but like when you saw how many people interacted with it, we were like, well, let's do that, and we're going to target designers because that was the work that was still coming in. If we hadn't targeted that group in really May or June, I don't I don't know where we'd be. That community through Instagram, through her, like my wife specifically, Jera, who helps operate, but liking videos, commenting on those designers and those high-end builders' homes, actually interacting on their sites for months. And then we went, visited those shops. We brought crumble cookies. I don't know if that's a Minnesota thing or if everyone else has those. It's like $40 for 6 cookies or something stupid. But, you know, we had already been interacting with those people. And by the time we got in there, some of them already followed us. But so instead of a cold reception, it was actually really nice to meet them, and the feeling was mutual. So I don't have the exact number, but we've probably picked up 10 to 12 designers, and then probably 3 to 5 remodelers, which are consistently using us. And we've had a couple other people just dip their toe in, and that's all I asked for was, hey, a start, give us a chance, see how it goes. If you like your fabricator you're with, we didn't have to bash anyone. I didn't tell them to drop them. I said, we'll do a great job. So I'll leave it at that, but that worked for us.
Who was it again that followed you, Steve?
So the designers, so we're targeting people that are not necessarily writing us the check, but they're picking the material and they're still sending clients to our work, either large residential customers or they're already working with builders. We had a couple that got their clients to come in, even though they already had fabricators, they selected our material, and then the customer ended up switching from, you know, these are big homes. It was a huge deal. And again, best thing is we did it without, we didn't trash anyone. We weren't doing anything sneaky, just put our product out there, educated them on, you know, material types. And that turned fallow ground over, man. We got people off of that.
Gotcha. All right. Let's move on. Let's get Jeff Erickson up here.
Hey guys. So yeah, we 24, I could not wait for that year to leave. It was a very tough year for us. We do a lot of box work, as some of you guys might know. We hosted an event in June, and probably some of you guys were there. So you kind of got a window into what we do. But so in May, it was announced to us that we were losing 67 of our 100 Lowe's stores. Not because we misbehaved, but because Del Tile came in and swooned Lowe's, and Sage lost that business, so therefore we lost that business overnight. And then it was starting off already slow. So in July, we had a reduction in force of about 31 people. And one thing I've noticed, so as we get into this year, maybe it's different for some of you guys, but forever it's been January super slow, February super slow, half of March is pretty slow, and then it starts to pick up again. So we're selling jobs in those time periods, but no one's ready for stuff to be done, so you can't convert it to revenue. But once COVID came, all that went out the window. I don't know about you guys, but there was nothing we could rely on anymore. It just seemed like it was busy no matter what. This year seems to be going back to what it originally was. So we are slow again. And so what we talk about how to manage this, what I used to do years ago is we would just reduce our hours, or we would reduce our days, and we would be very transparent with our people. We don't want to lose their trust, but at the same time, you have to be responsible with your business, and you have to and you know, I've always felt like transparency and honesty is the best way to go about things. So, you know, just explain to them this is what's going on and this is how we're dealing with it. And, you know, all I can say is that you know, appreciate your customers, because this is what it feels like when you don't have enough. And so, you know, it's a lesson to be learned by everybody. And you just hope it doesn't last very long. But we just went down to 4 days, so we're gonna treat every Friday like a holiday. And you know, in the past, the guys were like, "Yeah, sweet, 3 day weekend," and then 3 weeks after that, they're like, "Yeah, sweet, 3 day weekend," and then end of late February, they're like, "Okay, when are we going back to work?" So I don't know. That's what we're doing to deal with it. And I agree with, you know, looking at everything you can possibly look at, which we should be doing anyways, but we all tend to be passive when things are good, right? So, yeah, the labor is the biggest thing, because material's not an issue because you're not selling jobs anyways, and labor is the other big bucket item. So that's the only thing you can really control.
I agree. All right. Thanks for that, Jeff. Chad, you're next. Chad Worrell. You got the floor, bud.
I mean, yeah, they pretty much covered the majority of it, but for us, it's always labor first, and when you're busy and you're trying to find labor, you end up always having those employees that are kind of skating by, right? And so they get the first good long hard look. But the big one for me is shifting the focus on who the customer is. Retail's, you know, really the most profitable for us, but um, you know, we do have some big second home communities near us, and you know, a lot of people do those big trophy homes. And they're kind of a, you know, they're kind of a pain usually, but they keep going, they keep building when things usually slow down. So I really kind of focus on those and aim for the people who don't feel it like the majority. You know, the the people who still have the money to spend, the doctors, the lawyers, you know, the guys that are still playing with what they've got. But yeah, that's it for me.
Okay. Thank you. Hey, guys, once you talk, once you speak, keep an eye on the comments on the chat. People might have questions. They're going to put them in the chat for you. Okay. That way you can answer without coming right back.
Tim.
Mr. Zhang, you're next. Economic downturn, you're up.
There we go. I've you hear it a lot with people when the downtimes come down, they say, okay, we're going to cut costs. We're going to cut costs, so they stop marketing. Big mistake. You've got to, that's the time to market, is when the slow times are there, because it's just, you've got to get your name out there and get your presence out there. That doesn't mean you do it any, to me, I don't think you do it any more or less if it's busy or slow. You just cannot cut those dollars when it gets slow. That was one point. And then to me, I also try to save as much money as I can during the busy time when we're making the money, because when it starts to slow down, that's when you're going to start to see your deals, buying materials, getting stuff at cut prices. People that aren't in the same situation will sell equipment, or so it's a good chance to buy. So positioning yourself in the slow times to make acquisitions, I think that's also important. And then, like Jay-Z said earlier, you know, I'm looking at our P&L, how we can cut cost any which way we can, and we haven't really slowed down. So it's just good, healthy business as well. So that's all I got.
I raised my hand just because I had a question. Tim, what you said you're marketing. What are you doing for marketing? Where are those dollars and where is that effort going for the marketing?
Tim, you're muted, but unmute yourself.
There we go. Sorry.
There you go.
So all the normal, usual, Facebogram, all that kind of stuff. This would be a great question for my marketing guy because he knows way more than I do. But making more efforts to also get out and do personal marketing. So going to see your designers, going to see your builders, that kind of stuff, getting yourself out. I don't do any print type of advertising. I've been taught that that's not very a good return on your money. So I don't think there. I just try and create more of a presence, mostly on social media. So I don't skimp any of that stuff out. I don't know
So
if
it's
that's
not billboards per se, but $40 cookies and social media and that kind of stuff.
exactly right. Yep. Mhm. It's true. Like us, we have a company called Warm Cookie, which would be kind of the same thing that Steve was talking about. We'll send those out, or we'll make gifts. We did like cut scrap remnants up, like 12 by 12s, and put a meat and cheese tray and just go give it to our builders and to our designers and stuff like that. And then post that stuff, and then just to get your name out there. You got to keep hammering your name out there. So that's how we do it. It seems to work. So
We actually just hired an outside sales guy. He started Monday, and we're also doing television commercial filming the 15th. So I don't know if it's going to work, but we're going to give it a heck of a try because we've tried everything else. We've sent donuts. We do billboards. I mean, basically all you can do is let them see your logo as much as you can. All right, Jake, you want to get on here and you got something to say? Jake Mankin.
There we go. Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
There we go. A lot of the same from you guys. Doing more with less people or more with the same people. We found we are a little heavy on labor, from top to bottom, from templaters to installs to project managers to sales and all those things. Be efficient with your people you have, get more out of them, or get rid of them. Like somebody said, the labor burden is huge in this industry, and will drive you into the ground. We hadn't had a slow season, but we hit less profit this year based on just having too many people. Cutting the bad ones out, either growing them or getting rid of them, and that's your only two options. And it depends on the person, depends on the position, but we know all our departments can do more than they have been doing. So that's our attack this year, is just be more efficient. And therefore, if you're slower, you're going to make more money. But if you once it comes and grows, those people are working more efficiently, and you don't have to hire. So a lot of people, a lot of departments, and a lot of fat can be trimmed, and kind of has been our focus of the last quarter of last year, and mainly the focus of this year going forward. That's all I got so far.
Thank you.
Good. I don't know who was next, Guy or Tam. Let's pick Guy, and then we'll hit you up next, Tam. Is that okay?
Hello, everybody. I'm over here in Iowa. Kind of like Tim, we really haven't seen a slowdown. Here in Iowa / Midwest, we don't peak and we don't valley quite as much as some of you guys on the two sides of us. So knock on wood, we've been fortunate. I'm not sure how everybody else has done, in 2024. It sounds like there was some slowdown. I just pulled up my financials. We actually had about a 13% increase on our stone side. We are a multi-division company. We do commercial cabinetry, and so strictly cabinetry on the commercial market, and then we do stone hard surfaces, both commercial and residential. Just so you kind of got an idea where we're at. We're 95% wholesale. Hello. If we could get that up to 100% wholesale, we would. I understand retail is a better profit margin, but it also has costs associated with it, and it's got pluses and minuses. What we do, or what we have done to, I guess, weather the downs or the lulls, is number one, make your employees feel comfortable that they're not going to lose a job if they don't see work in the shop for a week. So many of them have come from that fear, or from shops that have gone out of business, especially if they've been around and they went through the 08 or 09 timeframe. The other thing, I mean, we do absolutely zero marketing as far as the Instagrams, the Facebook, because we want our customers, we want the end user to go through our customers. I mean, to the tune of, we were voted in one of those, locals love us. We were one of the top 3 granite shops in the Quad Cities here. And when they called Dialing for Dollars, wanting to get us to advertise in their magazine, I asked them, like, how do I get off that list? And the guy chuckled and said, honestly, in the 10 years I've been doing this, nobody's ever asked me that. So we want to make our customer, whether it be an interior designer, a kitchen dealer, or a contractor, look like the best choice for the residential end user. So our marketing is staying in front of them personally, trying to stop at their shops, or trying to just be as in their face so that they remember who we are, but also, like I said, to try to make them look the best that they can. And a lot of times, our marketing is $1,000, $2,000 here, replacing a countertop for something we didn't do wrong. We've replaced entire kitchens because they didn't like the black quartz, and they forgot the whole conversation that we told them that it's going to show fingerprints, it's going to show this. And 2 weeks after it's installed, they're complaining about fingerprints and smudges. And we said, well, here, this is your options. Didn't go in, didn't fight with them. The contractor, the kitchen dealer, both were, they called me after the meeting and said that was not what we expected to come out of the meeting. And, we told them that this $4,000 kitchen, I can't spend $4,000 and make up the bad press that person's going to give you, the contractor, and me. So that's where our marketing money is, like I said, trying to make their life as easy as possible. They hand us a job, they know that it's going to get done, it's going to get taken care of. And when it's all said and done, 95% of the customers are going to be happy with what they got, and are going to tell their 2 friends about it. So,
all right. Great, Guy. Thank you. Tam, we're going to hit this after Tam's done. I know, Jason, you got your hand up too. We're going to switch to another topic. I mean, we've been on this for a half an hour, so time's going to fly. I mean, time's going to fly. We want to roll through. All right, Tam, what do you got on the subject?
Mine was more just to add, in case there were any other sales or commercial people on here, as far as the visiting and doing the crumble cookies and all that kind of stuff. Make sure that your people out there on the road, I don't know how many everybody has, but have them make a focus group of who they want to hit hard. In other words, it's real easy to go sit in the industrial park and type in designers near me. And your salesperson can spend 6 or 8 hours jumping from place to place, dropping off candy bars and cards. Obviously, the more you throw against the wall, the more you're hoping to get. But I would make sure that in your all's meetings, or even when you talk to your salesperson, you might say, hey, why don't you focus on, make sure you've got these 5 designers in that zip code, and then just show that you're more available to those people. Sometimes I think we get lost in every cabinet shop and every designer in all your zip codes. So that was just a thought.
Key market is they all love eating our candy bars. They all love eating our cookies. It's just, are they going to pick up the phone and call us? Mr.
Right.
Singer, give us your option on this, and then we're going to go ahead and change subjects after you.
So, I don't know how many people in here are more diversified than just countertops. But one of the things that we found in over the last few years when our square footage dropped significantly in 24 was we have some other divisions, so remodeling and flooring, and I also have a home building company. And we found that the openness of the guys in the shop who weren't getting the square footage, or let's say some installers who were skilled to be able to go do some other stuff. Jerry said something in the chat a minute ago asking if your scope changes. Well, the answer to that in my company would be absolutely. I mean, we went through 24 and we could see the writing on the wall coming into the first quarter. We had a horrible first quarter for sales and a horrible fourth quarter for sales in 23. So we could see it coming, and we thought, what are we going to do? If square footage isn't going to be there, what are we going to do? So we started looking at, some larger remodels that we wouldn't have taken on before, some smaller additions, those type things that still seem to be going on because people aren't in our area. People aren't moving, so like there's not a lot of houses on the market. So I'm a home builder, so I'm benefiting from, being able to build homes, and, that kind of feeds our beast too. So you can, kind of create your own opportunities, find a house to flip, things like that. There's definitely opportunities. And I think the other thing to remember also when it's a downtime is, personnel and people are so important in this business and any business really. And, when it's downtime, when there's a downturn like this, you guys are talking about cutting people, and maybe you're not going to cut your best people, but there's an opportunity out there to get some good people. I mean, we've really grown our team to the point where I don't have what I would consider a person that I really want to cut. I mean, I would have to make some really super hard decisions at this point, because we've been just attracting people over the last year where everybody else is slow. We've been kind of picking them up and being able to figure out how to put them to work. But I would just say, keep your eyes open. There's definitely opportunities out there. It might not be where you're generally looking. And, if there's one thing about people in the stone business is that, we're not scared. I know if you guys are in the stone business, you're not scared to try something. So that's what I would just say. Maybe look for opportunities to kind of create your own opportunity, is kind of what we've been doing. So. And to answer that question in the chat, we do have plumbing division. Plumbing fits very well if you're doing a lot of retail, especially and remodeling.
Thanks, Jason.
So do we want to stay on business? Do we want to talk machines? What does everybody want to talk about? I mean, we're doing good with business. If everybody wants to stick to that, we can. Nice thing about being the first one, we can do whatever we want. I see somebody asked, do you add plumbing? Tam asked. We do for certain customers as long as we have it on the truck. I have simple plumbing things on the truck. If it's as much as running a P-trap, garbage disposal, we'll do it. If we're out in the middle of BFE and my guys are an hour from a hardware store, no way we're doing the plumbing. I mean, it just, there's too much. If it's close and it's easy, why not? I mean, our insurance covers it. Why wouldn't we do it? I don't know. I mean, every state's different, so I don't know where you're at or what your state does. Eric, what do you say?
We wouldn't touch plumbing for no. We did one where we did a P-trap and everything was fine on our end, but the pipes in the wall jiggled, and they were old 100-year-old cast iron pipes, and they were sealed with grease and whatever. First time she cycled the dishwasher, it flooded the kitchen into the basement downstairs. Our insurance company covered it, but they showed us the fine print that said that we weren't a licensed services and blah, blah, blah. And we changed how we did it. So we would refer it, we'd find people to do it, we'd offer that as a service, but we would never touch it or let our employees touch it ever, ever, ever again.
Now, did you guys disconnect plumbing too?
We used to, but after that experience, can't get more emphatic. Never, 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 ever again. We had a neighbor shop that did disconnect something, and they put in the countertops, and then the kids came home and cycled the dishwasher, flooded the kitchen, and guess what? They were responsible for the cabinets, the flooring, the damage, everything else.
Oh yeah,
because they disconnected it. And so, repeat, never, never again would we do it. We refer it to somebody who's capable of.
We'll disconnect, but we don't reconnect.
no. Steve, I don't understand your question in the chat. Go ahead and bring that up.
Eric and I were talking about it right before this meeting, but I have a machine that I like that I bought a little over a year ago, or about a year ago, for a huge project, about $1 million project that I lost. I gambled when I bought the machine. It's a score and snap Babaloni. It's a beautiful machine.
Oh yeah.
It's not working though. I want it. I've been busy with some other things. I haven't been selling that work. And I was, right now I'm looking at ways I can sell things, just free up operating capital. Because it's not that I'd make that much from selling the machine. It's sitting there dead right now. It has value, and it would free up a monthly payment because I didn't buy it with cash. And I also, if I get rid of it, the chances I go and get another one down the road get pretty small. So, there's an opportunity cost that goes out the door. I already spent a ton of money on it. My staff can run it. We're just not using it. So wondering how everyone is handling that, it's kind of business and equipment mixed, but I'll mute and listen.
That's a pickle there.
I'll jump in on that one for you.
Please.
You got to look at it as what can you do with that money? Think of it like a stock. Would you hold on to a stock that's going down, or would you sell it and put the money into something that can show you a return? And that's kind of where you're at with that machine is you're holding on to it because it was, I don't want to say a bad decision, but it's a decision that's going to be hard to swallow. And the best thing to do, if you're not using it and you don't see that you're going to use it, get whatever you can out of it and put that money towards something that's going to get you a return, not a deficit.
Yep. Agreed. Jeff, go ahead.
My line of thinking on that, a score and snap is essentially a glass cutting machine that's been adapted for porcelain. Is that right? So if I had a machine that wasn't busy the vast majority of one whole day, every day, I probably would figure out another way to cut that particular material. If you're not cutting a lot of porcelain, cut it with your saw or cut it with a water jet or cut it by hand and score and snap it. You can do that. But to have a machine and money tied up into something you're not using, I think you've answered your own question.
So Jeff, that's one of the things is we have a Northwoods, we have a Raptor, and it's a great machine, does a really nice job, cuts good miters. And that's exactly what we're doing now. We're using that in situations where we could use the Babaloni, because if we're going to cut 3, 4, or 5 pieces, no one even wants to take the tarp and uncover the thing when the saw can do the work and it's already operating.
Right. I used to be in the glass business. My father used to own a glass company, and we used to have a glass cutting table, which I operated. And we used to cut glass by hand too. So I don't know much about I've seen the score and snaps before. I think it works great for anything 10 mil and less. I think it's a little tougher to snap 12 and above. Same as glasses, it worked the same way. But you can put a straight edge on a piece of glass, oil up a cutter, cut it, and lift it up, put a straight edge underneath it, and snap it. So if you weren't, like I said, I mean, the glass cutting machine when we had the glass business revolutionized. Like we cut 1,000 times more glass with a glass cutting machine. It was way easier and way faster, but we had the work to support it. But if you don't think you're going to get more into porcelain and sell enough to keep that thing busy at least 4 hours a day, at least, then I don't think I would keep it. And there's probably a market. Somebody's going to want that right now because porcelain keeps growing.
So that's a great point, and I probably wouldn't look at it in hours of the day. I hadn't thought of that. But if I go get one or two, and I saw in some comments, there's some other questions about this also, but like what I'll target is, as an example, a casino hotel where they're doing X amount of foot of floor base or elevator lobbies where they're starting to use that porcelain material. And I might not go 4 hours a day all year, but I might do 3 months of solid running of that machine on one or two big projects. That was why I bought it. It was going to be for a 3 or 4 month period. So that really, if I put the machine to work, you keep the machine. If you're not going to put the machine to work, the machine needs to go.
Get rid of it.
Is kind of what.
Well, if you can capture a whole bunch of revenue in a period of 3 months and you know for sure it's coming, then that's a different situation than what you just explained. What I heard you say was you didn't have any use for it anymore, or you weren't using it. But so I guess you just have to be honest with yourself about what you've got.
It's just like everything else. If you have it and you want to use it, you're gonna have to push it and make it make money. It isn't gonna make money sitting there. So if you've already depreciated it and you go ahead and sell it, you could turn that into a couple containers of stone that you could flip quicker, or hold on to it and push it. You just gotta figure out which deer you're hunting there.
Okay, good input.
There's a saying, they say, when should I have fired that employee? And the answer is the very first second that you thought about firing them. And it's probably the same answer for that machine too.
I like that.
Very good.
Yeah, I also heard a saying, when you have a people problem, act. Most people do not act right away. They try to manage around it. The guy's a terrorist, he brings everybody else down, and everybody just waits forever to do it. And then when you finally get rid of him, everyone's like, "Why? Finally, what the hell were you waiting for?" Right?
Yeah. But I mean, if you get opportunities at that work, then yeah, I mean, you're gonna have to sell them. If you're not selling them, then there's no sense in having equipment to hold it.
I also think since it's not paid for and it's going to continue to cost you money monthly is a big negative. If it was paid for, it's one thing, but the ongoing expense is monthly, and it's not helping your cause. So I would sell it myself.
Correct. You could use
who's buying?
Correct.
Well, you also have to consider that when you sell it, you're probably not going to get what you owe on it. So you're kind of going to have to come out of pocket to get rid of it. So
maybe not, because we had a bowl machine because we had this brilliant idea that we're going to utilize our straight edger more and run our some of our stuff through a separate line. Well, that bowl machine, we actually sold it for more than we bought it for because people really needed them and wanted them at the time. And I don't know what the market is for porcelain machines right now, but it could be good. I mean, porcelain is not going away, and maybe somebody wants it.
So my machine was actually built. This was actually a glass machine that the Babyloni guys just, I believe all they did was change the tip and maybe there's a little software tweak. But mine is a glass machine, which is one of the reasons I think selling it is doable. It's, I've used it for porcelain, but when you can cross into another industry too, I think
Well, yeah. Well, you just said something golden because you're not just marketing to one industry. If it's a glass machine, maybe there's a glass company that's willing to buy it.
yeah.
Maybe someone like
Maybe there's
Jerry
a glass company
Vandergast
that
would be
needs a
willing to
cut.
take that on.
That was a good one.
I would be happy to
Anybody
help.
else? I don't want to see silence here. If you got something you want to talk about, let's speak up, please.
One quick issue about selling used equipment in down economies is, it's sometimes the worst time to actually sell in terms of what you can get for a machine. So, Jeff got, a good number for his bowl cutout machine when it was when it was desirable. But right now, a scored and cut machine, if you're gonna sell it at a price where, where your equity is gone, you know, it's better to hold on to it as an asset to your business unless you've got plans for that money. Correct?
Yeah.
Point. Now, somebody asked about importing containers of stone directly. There's definitely a couple of us on here who import stone. Who asked that question?
Tara.
It was in the chat. Was it Tara? I
Tara
believe.
Longnicker, yep.
Tara? Yeah. What do you got? What do you want to know about it?
Yeah, we've just kind of been playing around with it. We went to Tice for the first time last year, and obviously got attacked by everyone trying to sell you their imported stone. So we're just kind of trying to look at that and maybe even offer some colors that like our current distributors don't, and just like have an edge over some. So just curious on what people's feedback is on that, if there's issues with that, or the logistics are trickier than the deal that you get, or whatnot. If there's good and bad, who to avoid, who to not avoid, that sort of thing. We plan on going out to Tice again. So
okay, I'll hit that one real quick, only because we started a couple years ago and it has been a game changer for us. We have an SFA sponsor, Brothers in Granite. They make importing easy. They're very trustworthy guys. They're good guys. I've never imported from any other company, so I can't speak about that. I just know from Brothers it's been easy. We're able to mark up more stone. We don't have the things that all the companies around us, I mean, we can get them from the same place, but we can bring in other things that they don't have. Yeah, as long as you're using a reputable company, we've had great luck with it. Tim, what do you think?
So my I guess question or comment, whatever. I have imported a little bit, but it seems I'm curious, like we see stuff on Facebook from, Brothers, which is great. I've ordered from them. Everstone, what is the other one? Connect Granite, something like that. So these companies that are housing it here or bringing those materials to Houston or whatever, are those, if we're buying direct from them instead of importing from the home country, we'll say, are we getting the same deal as we would if we would just buy direct from Brazil or not? Or is it, I'm assuming they're marking it up some, bringing it here to Houston and housing it. So that was a general question. And then I was going to shamelessly plug, Tara, make sure you stop by the cage and the appreciation party at Tice. So sorry.
Yep, definitely. Eric?
That's it.
Okay.
No, Eric's
I'm going to come in and answer
Go ahead. Sorry.
Brazil, China, Italy, and that leads to a question for you, Tara. What type of materials are you looking to bring in? Is it granites, quartz, those type of materials? Is it quartzes? Is it marbles? What are you looking to import?
The main focus is definitely quartz, I would say. We're in central Iowa, so the quartzites and all that is definitely here, just not as popular as the quartz would be.
Okay. I'm not going to be the expert on the quartz, because the quartz you're going to be looking for sources in Vietnam and in that Southeast Asia region. But there is stratification with any of your material buying, being that the easier they make it, the more money that they're going to make these middlemen. If it's your local distributors, they're going to make more. If it's the importers that you're buying from that are bringing it into Houston, you're going to save some more money. If you get all the way to Brazil and use a company like Brothers in Granite, Brothers is a little bit more expensive, but I looked at using them because I bought from them. I was buying insurance. They were educating me on everything from shipping, customs, selections, inspections, and all that. And they were wonderful. Ultimately, the least expensive was going directly to the processing plants and buying directly from them in Brazil or in Italy and in other places. I wish I could help you in the quartz, but that's not my cup of tea.
Quartz is not my cup of tea either. There are so many people bringing it in and so many places you can get it cheap. I don't think we would. I wouldn't. I would spend the money on granite or marble. I wouldn't import a quartz. That's just me. There's a million places bringing it in. So, I mean, when you can buy quartz for $9 a square foot for 3 cm, you're not going to save a whole lot more bringing it in. And then you got to worry about quality and everything else. Just my 2 cents on it. I could be totally wrong again. John, go ahead.
One way to, I'm sorry. One way to approach that, Tara, is that you might go to something like the show in Verona, where pretty much all of the different quartz suppliers are, because you'll find that unlike the ones that we all know about here, there are plenty fairly sizable producers of other quartz products, both from the Far East and various places in Europe that might be willing to do something. As far as the pricing and whether there's a benefit in that way, that I couldn't tell you.
What I heard Jerry say was, Tara, he is inviting you to come with him to Verona on his dime.
All right, John, you're up. What do you got on the subject?
Yeah, we've done quite a bit of stone importing. We bought from Brothers both their stateside stuff and imported containers directly from Brazil. Rafa's Raf's awesome. We bought from Italy. We've done Cadoni, got Brazil, Spain. My take on it when you come to importing quartz is, quartz right now is turning into like a paste watch. You have 100 different materials out there that just are slight variation. And unless you have a real way of pushing your own quartz that you're importing and getting it and pounding the pavement, you don't want to import a bunch of quartz and then you don't sell it. When it comes to importing, I think, we've tried to get the commercial or the lower end stuff and see if that would really work for us or sell, but you can get it stateside for just about as much as you can get it for, importing it yourself. I think if you're going to go with the importing route, try to get your higher end stuff at a better price. Get more on that square foot price, getting, the higher end quartzites and, trying to get it cheaper than the other people are, so you can offer that to your customers at a better price than your competitors. That's my take with the import. You definitely want to have the right equipment to do it. We kind of do it a little sketchy. We got a big huge Calmar forklift, and we've got the big clamps, and we pull them out and we go in there, and if you can get an open top with overhead crane, that's awesome. Or if you got a dock that you can pull them straight out that way. It takes training. It is dangerous. I tend to be the one that goes inside and cuts out the bundles, the chainsaw or the sawzall, stuff like that. But if you got the right setup to do it, you're Iowa or South Dakota, if you pay a little more and logistics, getting it there. Container prices have gone down quite a bit. I know during COVID, we were seeing almost $20,000 just for the, the shipping and the freight on them. Now they're back down to about, the $8,000-9,000 again. We also, we have a tile division. That's our main division. And we're bringing in containers of tile all the time. We've just kind of slowed down on the containers of natural stone and slabs, just because we're focusing on the buy the job right now. We'll buy a bundle here and there, stuff. Brothers is nice with their stateside stuff. For Tim's stuff, you're paying. They're building in their freight costs into the stateside flatbed straight delivery route. You do get quite a bit better deal if you're buying a full container used in the 19.9 kilograms. So you're at like anywhere about 6 bundles or so that you get from it, and you're going to be quite a bit different with your importers. We use Savino as our freight forwarder that handles all the logistics. They're a great company, so that's something. Savino Del, I forgot what the last part is, but they're real good for a freight forwarder and handling all your freight and getting it in and bringing it. So it's, if you're looking into it, I would check with them too about logistics on all of it. But yeah, that's what I got on it.
That's Savino Del Bene.
Yeah, there you go.
And thank you, John. We're getting close to 6 o'clock here. And with Tice coming up, Tam's question is right on cue. Tam, what do you have?
I was just curious, in all my years in the business, I've only attended it 1 year. And that was to get with the Baca guys, and we bought a Baca. But from the sales and commercial job type reference, we had to leave early because there was a snowstorm in Louisville, so we missed like day 2 and day 3. So I didn't see there were no conferences, there were no seminars, anything like that. Do any of you all feel it's worthwhile from a non-equipment standpoint to attend that show at all? Or do you feel like you just should go to Orlando to the other one, and that's where you're going to get your most bang for your buck with your commercial salespeople or your sales department manager?
100% you will get something out of it if you go put yourself into it, meet as many people as you can, talk to as many people as you can, make as many friends as you can, and learn as much as you can. I barely walk the floor anymore. I mean, honestly, it's just more about seeing the people and having relationships, because that's what helps you forever. It's my 2 cents.
I was trying to give Jeff the hearts, not myself hearts. Why would I get hearts coming up on myself? Good answer, Jeff. Those hearts are for you.
Tim, we will. We're going to be at the cage we're going to be at Tice this year. I'm sorry. We're going to have the cage set up. So if you're able to make it, you can come in, meet us, and talk. And we're actually going to have an in-person roundtable in Vegas as well, as we always do. So feel free to, if you can make it, come and say hello and join the roundtable.
Can I add something to that, Jason?
Of course.
You can.
Tam, the SFA started as Stone Advice. It started as a fabricator's web forum where we were all addicted to having conversations on the web, whether how to top polish, how to how to sync out, how to do these things. And it has changed shape over the years, and now it's something that's something of a networking group. We do workshops because we share information there, but touching on exactly what Jeff said, it's the relationships and the connections that get made. It's really critical. In our opinion and our experience as a director of the SFA, to make these connections, because it's not all about me or Jay-Z or Jason. It's grouping like-minded people together and business people together. So you've got somebody else that you can call, and you're going to learn something. You're definitely going to get some nuggets from going. And this is coming from somebody who's an avowed introvert. This Vegas is repulsive to me, and although I like talking to one person or two people, it's just a drain on me when it's a lot of people. But it's just it's the cost of doing business, and I get so much more out of it. So I would definitely do that, and also consider the workshops. StoneBiz is fantastic, because StoneBiz is a place that you're going to be able to go where you have other people that are hungry to learn, that are hungry to grow, and SFA is working hard to bring in stars to really help everybody on this. So that's my 2 cents. We work really hard to be a networking organization. So, and you're going to get the variety. You're going to get huge shops, you're going to get small shops, and everybody.
Thank
Yeah, so just this year, I mean, we got 3 workshops. We got Vegas, we got Puerto Rico. I mean, you got all the opportunity in the world to come and see us. We're going to be doing these roundtables. I think today was pretty good. I think we're probably going to do it again. But I'm going to ask everybody to please go ahead and just give us a little review, whether it be in the email, on the Facebook page, whatever. This will be recorded and it will be on the forum or YouTube. And we don't have to get off. We can keep talking. If there's something that didn't get covered that you want covered, just say so and we'll get it.
I see Lewis has his hand up.
All right.
Hello, everyone. Just a quick question. A small shop. Just bought my first CNC. Should be arriving on end of February. We do commercial. We're in Houston. Crazy market. Unbearable. I wish I could move state and sell properly. We're fighting with super low prices. We're doing commercial to keep our overhead cost, and eventually we would like to swap into residential. My question is, we don't have LTP. Can we do our DFX files? Do you know of any service where we could do our drawings by hand and then send them somewhere and have DFX converted?
You can.
Yeah.
There's definitely a couple places. At that point, I'd almost.
Hey guys, you mind if I jump in on this?
Get it, Nick.
So in terms of getting DXFs drawn, there are a couple of companies out there that are offering it as a third-party service. That'll do it. There's also a number of laser users, I know specifically in the Houston market as well, that will just offer you a templating service that you just pay a square footage price. They go out, they do the template, they, clean it up and send it to you. So there are a couple of options to try and make those outsourced.
I have a question for you, Lewis. Who's going to program your CNC?
Yeah.
Well, we went on the cheaper route. We went through Asia, and we're not buying US equipment.
That's okay. It still has to be programmed.
I know. I have a technician that's a close friend of mine, a mechanical engineer. He will help with any issues, and they can, according to the Asian shop that we bought it, they can program it remotely with the camera and the internet service that they provide. Again, we're new to it. We're just getting our feet wet with that, and hopefully we didn't make a mistake.
I could be wrong, but I think you're going to find that you're going to need to program it inside your walls. And my advice would be to find a young man or woman that can learn to program and draw, and just have one person that does those drawings. And like Nick said, you can find somebody to digitally template, and then that person who's doing your drawing and programming can take those files and do what he needs with them. That's the way I think it. I'm abbreviating your potentially long journey, but I
Okay.
think that's where you're going to end up.
Okay.
I would 100% agree
You
with
are, Jeff,
agree
you're
with Jeff.
100%.
You don't want to go off. You don't want to go off paper drawings and have somebody turn them into a DXF.
Yeah, you
definitely
don't want to have to rely on somebody in China to program your job that's due on Monday.
bingo.
I think one of the little nuggets there that you guys should take from Jeff is, getting the right operator in there. Those young kids, they usually come in. You can find a kid that understands how to use the computer. It's intuitive to him. He doesn't really have any experience, so maybe you can get him at a little better of a rate because you're going to train him. And they pick it up quick. So I tell a lot of people often it's not the guy that's been using the bridge saw for 30 years that's the best guy to start using, your brand new CNC machine. Sometimes just a new train of thought is a little easier.
Thank you.
Tim, go ahead.
Just to add on that as well, my two programmers that I have currently, I got from community college, just with a CAD degree. So they have turned out fantastic, and then they are learning that skill set, and they're not, we'll say, ruined from other companies or something like that with bad policies or techniques or stuff like that. So we've had really good luck with community college CAD programs. So just in case you're going to start looking.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to kind of bring us into one subject that somebody wanted covered. I don't even know if they're here. Installs, making installs easier, and finding people who want to install stuff. I'm going to say, if you're laser templating and your guy's doing his job, and you're cutting with a 5-axis saw and you're finishing with a router, your install guys should be like pizza delivery guys. They should be in and out. They might have to throw a couple shims. Now we got cartridge glue that matches everything damn near perfect. I mean, no lift carts. It's gotten so much easier in the last 10 years, but you got to find people who want to do it. Does anybody have any insight into that? Nobody?
So we're still a manual shop, and we're installing 12 to 15 apartments per day. So even though we're templating and doing by hand, we basically drop. It takes us 35 minutes probably per apartment. And you're talking 65 square feet, more or less.
No, that's good. That's really good. I mean, are they having to do much on site? Are they having to fix anything?
No,
cut anything?
everything comes from the shop. We're cutting. We know there's a backsplash, a tile backsplash coming in, so we're leaving a quarter of an inch on the back if we need to, just to adjust the piece, and that's it.
That's pretty darn good. I mean, but the problem is you still got to have people there to install it. I mean,
we don't outsource any of our installs. So everybody at the shop there's not like a bridge saw guy. Everybody does everything.
Okay.
And it's been working so far for the past year. So
that's great. But as these guys age, are you doing anything to replace them?
Yeah.
That's my question. Where do we find the new blood that wants to come in and install the stone? I mean,
yeah, I think how do you make it a career, right? How do you make it so in our area that was Steve Mass that asked that question.
Okay.
I think it's something we all struggle with, but we all go to market so differently and do such a variety of different types of work, some of you guys just do fantastic high work. That's a very different person than what we're looking for to go do a 40-foot kitchen, right? So, in our area, we're in the Rust Belt, so we're sandwiched. We're just south of Detroit. We got lots of union jobs, lots of welding jobs, tool and die jobs, the automakers themselves. So one thing we've noticed is those aren't necessarily better jobs per se, but what they do a good job of is every we've had people leave and they say, "Well, I'm going to go to the tool and die shop because my first year I'm going to do this. By the third year I'm doing this and I'm making this. By the fifth year I'm doing this. And if I do everything right, by the 10th year and I'm a journeyman, I'm making this much money." So what they just described to me was a path. And even though the work may or may not be as rewarding, who knows? It's personal preference what you like to do every day. But the point is they had a path and it was laid out for them. And we've lost many people through the years because we don't have that same thing. That's something we're working on.
Can I jump in?
Yeah.
I have two young guys that are both working out. And what I've found is trying to kind of sell a vision to them. It's a little different than how I've done it with sales staff, but we have a great product. And I think everybody, needs to remember that. And like Eric Rolstad's wife used to say, it's like we sell puppies. People come in, they see a port site. And Jeff, to your point, we all are selling different things. But I have sold the job as a great place to land. The problem is like you got to back it up. And I know Jay Singer had just said, you got to make it a great place to work, get a PAM, and I think that's right. But I have done a sales job to these two young men and am trying to live up to it, like make it a good career. Love your point about if the measure tech is doing a great job, if the mill is producing a great product, installing's a good life. It's not bad. I did it for a long time, both on the commercial side on marble, but I mean, we would do residential stuff also, but it's a great life if your measure tech isn't terrible.
Right.
And your mill produces nice material.
Yeah. And get heavy. I think that's what Steve's point was. It gets heavy, and as you get older, that gets harder to do.
Yep.
Yeah.
I would also say culture is very important. Make your place stand out so people will come to you. And then I am always fighting to make my installers' jobs as easy as possible. So, it's the no lift carts, it's the new tools that help them do the installs to protect their backs. It's caring for them and investing into them as well as my company to make their job as good as possible. So I think that's infinitely important because it is a tough position. That and polishers.
Yeah.
Polishers super hard to find too, but
Yeah.
installers are extremely important. So
Absolutely.
yep.
Yeah.
And you have to have this rare combination. It depends on how you go to market, right? The homes that we're in every day, most of the people are living in those homes. And that is not the case for, say, somebody that's, doing a new build in this gorgeous giant house and nobody's around. There's not even a driveway poured yet to get oil on. So like the way our people have to behave compared to that, the craftsmanship of the person I just explained has to be much higher than what we have, what we need, but we need a person who makes somebody feel really good and maybe doesn't have quite the level of craftsmanship that of the scenario I previously explained. Does that make sense? So we're looking for people that do an adequate job that the customers love. Whereas someone that's doing a super high-end work, they may be a little stinky and grouchy, but they do very good work and nobody's around to see them be cranky. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Good point. All right.
Anybody else got anything they want to have covered? Sorry about that, Jared. Go ahead. Speak up.
It's very difficult to find both of those traits in the same guy.
Yeah, find a big guy that can lift heavy weight, that's meticulous in his craftsmanship, and he's the friendliest guy ever. And he smells great.
Unicorn.
Yeah.
There he
You
is,
gotta
Alec
find
Turner,
the
right up there in Alaska. He's
fixer-uppers
ready to
are
go.
out there.
So I've seen if I could, I've seen a couple of things that I've always heard, and I had seen another company do. One was the philosophy that the shop is always there to service the installers. The installers are the last people to see your customer. They're the last one to give your company name, and so you want them happy. And the more that the shop can do for them, the less work they're doing out in the field, obviously, is always better. But the other thing that I saw with a large fabrication shop was they would track callbacks. They would track issues. Those are killers to your guys' bottom line. And so they would track how many square footage they would be putting out and what the callback ratio was. And then they had a small bonus that they had set aside for like no callbacks. And it's tough to put that money aside, but I think it's valuable if that installer is trying to make more money and you're incentivizing him to stay there and finish the job and not have to go back at all.
Yep. Figure out the behaviors you want and pay for those behaviors.
Okay. That's good.
All right, guys. Anybody have anything else they want to add tonight?
Jerry, are you a Notre Dame fan?
What gave it away?
Just a little.
And you got to be excited.
Yeah, it's been a long, long time rooting for that,
Yeah.
my friend. It's like being a Browns fan, almost.
Yeah, you know Bob that works for us, obviously, right?
Uh-huh.
He's a huge Notre Dame fan as well.
Is he? Is he? I didn't know that. Okay. Yeah, it's gonna be a tough game. I'm a little nervous right now.
Good luck.
Yeah. I'm gonna have a little wine in my coffee glass.
Don't lie, you've already had some.
I was blowing on it, so you know. See you.
Enjoy the game, Jer. Have
Thank
a good
you.
night.
Hey, Jer.
All right, guys. Well, thanks again for joining. I appreciate everybody taking the time out to be here. Hopefully it was valuable and hopefully we're gonna try this again in a month. Hopefully we get all you plus some. So spread the word. Invite your friends, invite yourselves back. We'll send you links. So
Perfect. My advice would be to poll everybody again as to what they want to do the topics. Take the top two.
Yeah. Yep.
Two and talk about two, and then have the 3, 4, and 5 in reserve. But just tell everybody you're going to talk about these two things.
Yep.
Because it's
Good
when it's
idea.
open-ended, it's hard to get anywhere.
got it. Thank you.
That's where
Yeah, and if anybody has any other feedback, please email us, let us know. If something that you think went well, something that you think went poorly, just let us know. Again, it's a learning experience, so we want to make this great for everybody.
All right.
Are you
See
going
you
to
guys
publish
in a few
the
weeks.
Are you going to publish the link to the recording so that other people that weren't able to do it? Because maybe the rest of us vendors
will.
can
Yeah.
market
we will.
it. Yeah.
We'll post it for you. We'll let you know when it's up.
Matter of